All right, good morning. Today's date is November 17th, and we're going to take a step back when it comes to inequalities. I know yesterday we did multi-step equations or inequalities, but today we're going to talk about, special inequalities, So now, up until today, okay, from the very first day I taught you inequalities, which was last week. Okay, for the very first like simple problem that you probably did in your head, right? And you were like, Miss Lamelli, why do I have to show work? Like this is too easy, you know, right? When we did if it was x plus 5, you did a minus 5, you did a minus 5, right? You dropped down the inequality, right? For the last like almost 2 weeks, you've been doing this without hesitations, without doing anything, without questioning it. Yesterday, it got multi-step, so hopefully you realize like the importance of showing work. All right, so today we're going to talk about special inequalities. So let's say I have this problem. Negative 6x is greater than, let's say, 18. Okay? So you're like, Miss Amelie, why are you giving us another easy problem? Like we've already mastered this. True, but there is a secret. There is a secret that I have not told you until today. All right, so we're going to draw our bars. It says negative 6 times x. Remember, when this is together, it's multiplication. So you're going to divide. Now we're going to divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6. Miss Emily, why are you teaching us this today? It seems like we already learned this. Yes, I know, but you haven't. Trust. So here we have x. Now this inequality, guess what? You don't bring it down. You have to switch it. Flip it around. I didn't make a mistake. You flip it. You switch it. And this, according to the triangle Dorito Man, a positive divided by a negative, positive divided by a negative is equal to a negative, negative 3. Now why did I flip it? I did not make a mistake. This is a brand new rule. Ladies and gentlemen, when you divide by a negative, you have to switch the inequality. Yes, when you divide by a negative, you have to switch inequalities. It does not matter what your answer is. That's not the point. The point is that you divided by a negative. When you divide by a negative, you have to switch the inequality. So let's write that down. When you divide, or guess what? Or multiply by a negative, remember, you have to, what should we call it? Flip? Switch? I'm going to call it flip. Flip the inequality symbol. Yep. This symbol right here, the inequality, you have to flip it around. When you divide by a negative, it does not matter that your answer is negative. We've already had negative answers. If I look back on my notes, whoa, sorry about that. We had negative answers here, right? Back in the day, we didn't switch this. No, we did not. We had a negative answer there, right there last week. We did not switch it. No, we did not. So, ladies and gentlemen, because our answer is negative doesn't mean we switch it. We switched it because we divided by a negative. It also means when you multiply by a negative, okay? Graphing is the same thing. Okay, let me just graph real quick just to show you. Negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 2, negative 1. It's an open circle, and I'm going to shade to the left. Yes, even though our original inequality was a greater than, you would think that you would have to say sketch to the right. Nope. You sketch to the left. Why? Because we divided by this negative. Dividing by this negative, causes so many issues. No, it really doesn't. All you have to do is switch the inequality and you are good. So let's do some more examples here. So if it was x over negative 4 is less than or equal to, let's say, negative 2. Let's say that. All right. So we're going to draw our bars here. This is a division sign right here. So the opposite is to multiply. We're going to multiply by negative 4. We're going to multiply by negative 4 on both sides. You see how we're multiplying by negative 4? Because you multiply by a negative 4, you are going to switch this inequality to greater than or equal to. Yes, you flip it. You're left with x. Over here, the Dorito man tells us a negative times a negative is equal to a positive. So our answer is 2 times 4 is 8. We have a positive answer. Cool, awesome, congratulations. You still flipped it. Why did I flip it? Because I multiplied by a negative. The rule says if you divide or if you multiply by a negative number, you have to switch this. Not add or subtract by a negative number. Not add or subtract. It only happens when you multiply or divide by a negative. It's a weird rule, but it is what it is, all right? So now, okay, what's the number one mistake kids do? They start flipping everything. Every time they see an inequality, let's flip it. Yeah, it's cool. Guess what? It's not cool. It's not. You only get to flip when you multiply or divide by a negative. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been doing inequalities for the last 2 weeks. Week 13. Look at this. No, did we do that? No. Okay, starting in November 8th, we never switched all of these notes. You never, ever, ever switched, right? Never. It was on purpose. You were not ready. You're ready today. I know. Congratulations. You're ready today. You only switch when you multiply or divide by negative. So that is 1% of the time. Please do not switch every single time. Please only switch when you multiply or divide by a negative, and that is only 1% of the time. Remember, you just spent 2 weeks not flipping it. So don't be that kid that flips it every single second. Don't. All right, so again, recap. If it's negative 5x is greater than, let's say, negative 10. All right, seems like a problem we already did. I'm just trying to make a point here. We're going to divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. Okay, as soon as you divide by a negative, you are going to switch this inequality. You see, it became from a greater than to a less than. And then negative 10 divided by a negative is equal to a positive. Positive 2. We're going to draw our 2, 1, 0, 3, and 4. We're going to have an open circle and shade to the left. Even though in our original problem we had a greater than symbol, and you would think we would be shading to the right. But no, my students, we are flipping this. I don't know, maybe squiggly line there. We are flipping this because we divided by this negative. But Miss Lamelli, it's a positive answer. Cool. Yeah, awesome. That's not what we look at. We look at what number you're moving. If you're moving a negative number, multiplication, division only, you flip it. If you're moving a negative number by adding or subtracting, does not count. Only when you multiply and divide. All right, kids, let's do one more example. All right. So we have x divided by negative 3 is greater than or equal to 4. All right. So the process, the idea of multiplying by a negative number or dividing by a negative number, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, when you move it over, not adding and subtracting, gosh, how many times do I have to say that? That makes us switch this. So we're left with x over negative, just x. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. So we're left with x is less than or equal to negative 12. So we're going to draw our line. We're going to draw negative 12, negative 13, negative 14, negative 11, and negative 10. And we're going to have a closed circle. And we're going to shade that away. All right. And that's it. Okay. So again, you only switch the inequality symbol when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative. That is all. That is all. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Okay. You have from last week, and I told you to keep it, worksheet that is labeled A/B and C-D. Hey, you don't have these? That's cool. I have extra copies. And they're going to say second copy on them. And guess what? You're going to lose points because you didn't keep the originals. Yeah, that's right. Always keep the originals, especially if I told you to keep them. Anyways, I want you to do problems 1 through 10 from each of these. Maybe you're already done. Fantastic. I want you to graph 1 through 10 even only. Okay, so find worksheet A through B, which is adding and subtracting, C through D, which is multiplying and dividing. I want you to finish 1 through 10 on each side, and then graph 1 through 10, just the even. So you're graphing just 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 5 problems. Okay, and then we're going to have another worksheet on the positive and negative. I know it's a modified day, so you may or may not finish everything, which is fine. The sub will leave me a note to see how far you guys got, and then that's what I'll be grading. Okay, these notes are worth another 40 points. Wow, kids. Wow, I'm looking for 40 points. And look, I'm looking for this hidden smiley face. I mean, that's going to be worth like 39 points, right? This one's going to be worth 39 points. The rest is worth 1 point. I'm being sarcastic. Everything's worth 1 point. All right, I'll type this all up into Canvas. Yeah. All right, kids. Any questions? Email me. I know some of you were emailing me yesterday. Fantastic. I know there was a mistake on the do now. I fixed it for everybody. If you check your grade for the do not yesterday, I regraded number 3 for all of you. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I am responding. Have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow.